When you go on a job interview, they're probably going to ask you if you know how to use Excel. And you, like everybody else, are going to say, yes, of course. And then they're going to ask you another question to see exactly how much you do know about Excel. And that question is going to be, do you know how to use pivot tables? And that's one of the important topics we're going to cover today. We've covered all of the Excel topics in the textbook, but there are a few vitally important topics that were left out. And one of them is pivot tables. Now, pivot tables has a reputation of being somewhat difficult, but actually they're very easy to use and they're extremely powerful. What is a pivot table? It's basically just something that compares groups of data. If anytime you have two or more groups of data and you want to compare those groups, use a pivot table. It divides up your data into groups and it compares those groups really simply and easily. It's a really powerful tool. The advantage of the pivot table is it's very easy to create and easy to adjust, but it does have some disadvantages. Number one is it does not automatically recalc. Unlike regular Excel formulas and Excel charts, a pivot table does not automatically recalc. We must manually refresh it in order for any changes in the data to be reflected in the results. Also, it has kind of a rigid structure. We can't insert columns and things in there, so it's difficult. Also, and the design choices are somewhat limited. So, but other than that, it's an extremely powerful tool. And it's easy to create. Okay, basically just click any cell in the group of data that you want to create a pivot table based on, and then click on the Insert tab, then choose Recommended Pivot Tables. And usually one of those choices will be good for you. Okay, first thing you have to do is get a data file. And if you can click on the link, that would be good. But we're going to just basically type in this shortcut that I've created, bit.ly/pivot7777. Here in Google, I'm going to type in the shortcut in the address bar at the top here. I'm going to type in bit.ly/pivot7777. Hit the Enter key. That brings us to a shared file on the box system. And I'm going to just click the button here, Download, to download it. And we can ignore this. It creates a button in the lower left corner if you're using Chrome. And if you just click on that, that'll open it up. I'm going to go to my desktop here and then open it up from the Downloads folder. I'll click on Downloads, and there it is right there. Just double click it. Good. And if you see a button here for Enable Editing up at the top, just click that and we come here. And basically, I've got a workbook with several worksheets. And the first one here is called the About worksheet, which is a good sheet to include. Sometimes you can call it Introduction or Documentation. Basically, it's a worksheet that describes all of the other worksheets in the workbook. This is a really good thing to have when you're doing a complicated workbook, because this will tell you basically, when you come back to this 6 months or a year from now, you'll have your notes here and you can figure out what you were trying to do and how you should do it. It's also good for your coworkers so they can understand what you're trying to do. I'm going to zoom out here. It's a little big. It's 150%. Just click out the zoom out button, bring it down to about 120%. There, it's a little better. And then if I zoom down, you can see there are descriptions for each of the worksheets in the workbook. If we go to Sales 1, you can see it's a list of transactions for two individuals, Ben and Ashley, and they're involved in some kind of sales contest. And Sales 2 and Sales 3 are exactly the same. We're going to be doing different techniques on each of these different sheets. The payroll sheet pretends to be a list of the employees at a particular company. Order form is a pretend order form for Shake Shack. And order form 2 is another one. They were going to be doing different techniques on those two worksheets. And lastly, we have our homework sheet here, and I'll show you how to do the homework on this sheet. But first, let's go back here, click on the Sales 1 thing, and let's save this as under a new name and a new location. I'm going to go up here and click on File, and we're going to go down here, click on Save As, and then click on the Browse button, and click right here in front of the E7. And I'm going to put my name. You could put your name and 2 dashes. There we go. Well, let's change the location. We're going to put it into the Documents folder. And the type is going to be Excel Workbook. That's fine. We'll just click on the Save button. And it's all saved. And before we go, I just want to let you know that there is an extra credit opportunity here. If you fill out the workbook as I show you in these videos, and then you send it to armalloy@norc.edu, I'll give you extra credit for it. Okay, so if you do it fairly soon, that would work out really nice. Take advantage of it. You don't have to get everything 100% correct. Any point you get is going to help your grade, so please take advantage of it. It's a good thing to do. So next, in our next video, we're going to actually create a pivot table.